When ice cream defeated an ideology. German POWs in America, the Impossible Drink, summer 1943. Camp Crossville, Tennessee. A German soldier stared at the brown, fizzing liquid in the bottle like it was from another planet. After 2 years fighting in North Africa, living on hard biscuits and bitter coffee substitute, this sweet carbonated drink called Coca-Cola seemed impossible. It cost 5 cents at the camp store, the same price, guards told him, that American kids paid with their allowance money. That summer, across prison camps throughout America, over 371,000 German POWs would face a truth that shattered everything Nazi propaganda had taught them. America wasn't weak. In fact, it was almost unbelievably abundant. They found a country where ice cream was just regular dessert, where soft drinks were everyday beverages, where candy bars were so common that guards just gave them away. These simple treats, foods most German children had never even tasted, would tear down Nazi ideology more effectively than any propaganda campaign ever could. When the Desert War ended, when the Afrika Korps surrendered in Tunisia in May 1943, about 250,000 German and Italian soldiers became prisoners. These battle-hardened veterans expected the worst. Nazi propaganda had prepared them for American cruelty and starvation. Instead, within hours of surrender, they got K-rations. These field rations, which American soldiers constantly complained about, were treasure chests to the Germans: crackers, cheese, candy, fruit bars, instant coffee, sugar tablets, and cigarettes. Soldiers who'd survived on next to nothing for months treated these emergency meals like feasts. At processing camps in North Africa, the US Army served pancakes with syrup, fresh eggs, and milk, foods that had disappeared from German military rations years ago. One German officer later told the International Red Cross, "We expected to be starved as prisoners. Instead, the Americans fed us better than our own army had. That's when our education began." The Atlantic crossing. The Liberty ships carrying POWs across the Atlantic that summer gave them an intense crash course in American abundance. These ships were being mass-produced at crazy speeds, one completed every 42 hours at peak production. Naval records show prisoner rations matched what the crew ate, about 3,500 calories daily, including fresh bread, meat, vegetables, and coffee with real sugar and milk. But here's what really blew their minds. The ships had refrigeration as standard equipment, and they served ice cream. In the middle of the ocean, the USS General M.B. Stewart's log from July 1943 records serving ice cream to prisoners on the 4th of July, using the ship's ice cream maker that could produce 10 gallons per batch. For men who hadn't seen ice cream since before the war, eating frozen dessert in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean made no sense. Welcome to America. When ships docked at ports like Norfolk and Newport News, German POWs saw an America that Nazi propaganda had said was impossible. The Norfolk naval base handled more cargo in a single day than major German ports managed in a week. At the base shops, prisoners glimpsed shelves stocked with candy bars: Hershey's, Mars, Nestlé. All selling for 5 cents, the same price charged everywhere in America. The train ride inland was another shock. No cattle cars like in Europe. They travelled in passenger coaches. Dining cars served full meals, fried chicken, vegetables, pie, and coffee. This wasn't special treatment for prisoners. This was just normal American train service. Life in the camps. The prison camps built across America exceeded what the Geneva Convention required. Camp Crossville, Tennessee, pretty typical of the larger facilities, had electric lights, hot water, flush toilets, and heated barracks. But the camp stores hit hardest. According to Army records, camp stores stocked multiple soft drink brands: Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, RC Cola, various candy bars and sweets, ice cream, where they had refrigeration, cigarettes and tobacco, fresh fruit and snacks, even beer, 3.2% alcohol. Prisoners earned 80 cents a day for work, later raised to $1. With candy bars at 5 cents and Coke at the same price, a day's wages could buy 16 items, an abundance beyond anything they'd known in Germany, where such products required special connections, if you could get them at all. The drink that changed everything. Coca-Cola became the symbol of American democracy. The Coca-Cola Company produced 5 billion bottles in 1943 alone. They had a military contract guaranteeing 5-cent Coke to American servicemen worldwide, a logistics miracle. German prisoners discovered this soft drink was everywhere in America. Every camp got regular deliveries. Work crews saw vending machines and coolers at gas stations, factories, schools. Americans of all ages drank it casually, sometimes throwing away half-empty bottles without a second thought. What really amazed the technically minded prisoners, Coca-Cola tasted exactly the same whether you drank it in Maine or Texas. This quality control exceeded anything German industry had achieved. Records from Coca-Cola archives show many camps received 200 to 300 cases weekly. That's up to 7,200 bottles. Camp Hearn, Texas alone consumed about 7,000 bottles every week during summer 1943. Ice cream, the impossible dessert. Ice cream seemed like fantasy to Germans who hadn't seen it since before the war, yet army records confirm it was regularly served in camps with adequate refrigeration. The military considered ice cream so essential for morale that they built specialized ice cream ships for the Pacific Fleet. At Camp Shelby, Mississippi, the 4th of July 1943 celebration included ice cream made on site. Prisoners watched as hand-cranked freezers churned out gallons using ice, salt, cream, sugar, and flavorings. The casual use of scarce resources, ice in July, cream, sugar for entertainment food, showed priorities Germans couldn't understand. By 1944, many camps had electric ice cream makers. The variety, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, butter pecan, exceeded what German ice cream shops offered before the war. Prisoners could buy ice cream bars for 10 cents, ice cream sandwiches for the same, or cups of various flavors. Larger camps ordered 50 to 100 gallons weekly during summer, the sugar shock. In Germany, sugar was strictly rationed at 280 grams per month, when available. In American camps, sugar sat in bowls on dining hall tables, unlimited. Records from 1943-1945 show camps receiving 100-pound bags of refined sugar every week. Camp bakeries use sugar freely in cakes, cookies, and pies. The mess halls sweetened coffee, tea, and desserts without restriction. One incident from Camp Aliceville, Alabama tells the whole story. In August 1943, humid weather hardened several hundred pounds of sugar. Instead of recovering it like Germans would have, kitchen staff just threw it out and ordered more. German prisoners working in that kitchen were reportedly upset by this waste. Chocolate democracy. Major manufacturers like Hershey's, Mars, and Nestlé produced millions of bars monthly despite wartime restrictions. The military alone bought 380 million pounds of chocolate during the war years. Camp stores stocked multiple chocolate varieties for 5 to 10 cents. Prisoners discovered Americans had preferences among chocolate brands, casually choosing one over another like it didn't matter. Red Cross packages distributed monthly to prisoners included chocolate or candy bars, instant coffee, processed cheese crackers, canned meat, cigarettes, soap. These packages exceeded what German civilians received as basic rations. Holidays of abundance. Thanksgiving 1943 introduced German prisoners to American holiday excess. Army records confirm all prison camps served the traditional feast: roast turkey with stuffing, mashed potatoes and gravy sweet potatoes, cranberry sauce, vegetables, pumpkin pie, coffee and milk, providing turkey dinners to 425,000 POWs plus millions of American servicemen worldwide, showed organizational power that dwarfed German efforts. And the fact that German prisoners got the same meal as American soldiers, that challenged everything Nazi racial ideology had taught them. Christmas 1943 brought something even stranger: generosity from American civilians. Church groups, civic organizations, and individuals sent packages to German POWs. The American Friends Service Committee alone distributed 50,000 Christmas packages to enemy prisoners, typically containing homemade cookies, candy, toiletries, games, books, cigarettes, and writing materials. In Tonkawa, Oklahoma, townspeople delivered homemade treats to German prisoners. In Hearn, Texas, church groups brought Christmas cookies and candy. This civilian kindness toward enemies fundamentally challenged Nazi ideology. Americans whose family members were fighting Germany still showed charity to German prisoners, demonstrating strength through mercy, not vengeance. Working in the land of plenty. As labor shortages grew, German POWs increasingly worked outside camps. seeing American food production firsthand. By 1944, about 100,000 prisoners worked in agriculture and food processing. In Michigan orchards, prisoners picked cherries destined for maraschino production, those bright garnishes on ice cream sundaes. The volume staggered them, single orchards producing tons of fruit just for decoration. At canneries, prisoners watched quality control reject perfectly good food for minor flaws. Del Monte records from 1944 show about 15% of fruit was rejected for canning due to size issues or small blemishes, usually sent to animal feed. Sugar beet processing in Colorado and Nebraska revealed agricultural mechanization beyond German achievement. Single farms produced more sugar beets than entire German regions. Prisoners learned that American sugar production reached about 7 million tons annually, explaining the casual abundance they witnessed everywhere. School lunch lessons. German prisoners working near schools witnessed early versions of organized school lunch programs. Children received hot lunches including milk, protein, and vegetables. The milk program especially impressed German observers. Many schools provided fresh milk to children daily. The logistics of daily delivery to thousands of schools showed organizational capacity Germany couldn't achieve even for military supplies. Some school cafeterias sold ice cream for extra purchase. The idea of children buying frozen desserts at school while German children faced shortages created profound impact among prisoner observers. The diner experience. When minimum security prisoners ate at American diners under guard, they encountered democratic abundance. These small restaurants offered menus that would have graced elite German establishments, available to anyone with modest money. Documented prices from 1944: hamburger 25C, Coca-Cola 5C, pie slice 15C, ice cream sundae 25C, full dinner special 65, 75C. The equality of service contradicted German social stratification. A factory worker and bank president ate identical meals at adjacent counter stools, served by the same waitress for the same price. The numbers don't lie. As prisoners gained access to American publications, they discovered production statistics that dwarfed German efforts. 1944, American production, sugar, 7 million tons. Chocolate and cocoa products, 380 million pounds, military alone. Coca-Cola, 5 billion bottles, 1943 figure. Ice cream, over 500 million gallons. Milk, 119 billion pounds. German production, same period. Sugar, heavily rationed, mostly from beets. Chocolate, military priority only. Soft drinks, minimal production. Ice cream, virtually non-existent. Milk, severely rationed. These numbers, published openly in American media, showed that America's wartime production exceeded Germany's peacetime peaks. The package reversal. By late 1944, German POWs were sending food packages to Germany instead of receiving them. Using camp wages, prisoners bought American products to mail home: chocolate bars, instant coffee, canned goods. International Red Cross records confirm this stunning reversal. German prisoners in America sent about 11 million parcels to Germany during their captivity, most containing food. The impact on German families receiving American abundance from imprisoned relatives while they faced starvation in freedom? It profoundly undermined Nazi ideology. American rationing. American rationing during the war revealed the gulf between societies. Americans complained about sugar rationing of £2 monthly per person, more than triple the German allowance when available. American meat rationing at 28 ounces weekly exceeded what Germans received monthly. Even rationed, Americans maintained consumption levels Germans considered impossible luxury. Office of Price Administration records show Americans bought £74 of sugar per person in 1944 despite rationing, 10 times German consumption. Victory through newsreels. Spring 1945 brought the final blow. As American forces advanced through Germany, German POWs in America watched newsreels of GIs distributing chocolate and gum to German children. The contrast was devastating. American soldiers advancing through enemy territory carried enough candy to give away, while the German state that promised triumph delivered starvation. Films of concentration camp liberations showed American troops sharing rations with skeletal survivors, demonstrating humanity toward victims of the regime these German soldiers had served. Going home, Between 1945 and 1946, German POWs returned to a destroyed homeland. Many prisoners had gained weight in American captivity, while their families lost weight to starvation in freedom. Medical examinations showed German POWs generally returned healthier than when captured. They came home to families weakened by deprivation. This physical evidence was undeniable. Many prisoners brought final Red Cross packages home, chocolate, coffee, and canned goods that became family treasures. Children who'd forgotten chocolate's taste received Hershey bars from fathers who'd eaten ice cream regularly in prison camps. Unlikely advocates. Former POWs became unexpected advocates for the Marshall Plan. They'd witnessed American abundance that wasn't zero-sum, prosperity through production, not conquest. Their testimony that Americans could afford to rebuild enemies influenced German acceptance of American aid. These men understood that American power came from productive capacity, not extraction. They'd seen a society wealthy enough to waste food while fighting a global war. This mental model, creation rather than conquest, shaped West Germany's economic approach. The German economic miracle. The German economic miracle of the 1950s was partially built on knowledge gained in American prison camps. Former POWs who'd witnessed American production methods, distribution systems, and consumer abundance applied these lessons to German reconstruction. They'd learned that mass production could make luxuries affordable, standardization enabled quality and efficiency, consumer abundance created political stability, industrial democracy could outproduce authoritarian control. These lessons, learned through Coca-Cola and ice cream, shaped a generation of German business and political leaders. The historical record. The transformation of German POWs through American food abundance is documented in Military Quartermaster Records. International Red Cross reports corporate production records, especially Coca-Cola archives, POW correspondence, censored but preserved, post-war interviews and memoirs, academic studies. Arnold Kramer, the leading historian of German POWs in America, concluded that food abundance was central to ideological transformation. His research confirmed that casual American plenty accomplished what formal re-education programs couldn't: complete demolition of Nazi superiority myths. The numbers tell the story. Average POW consumption, 1943-1946. Daily calories, 3,300-3,600 sugar, 4 lebbies monthly, available. Meat, 32 Aussie weekly. Milk, 1 quart daily, available. Ice cream, served regularly in summer soft drinks, unlimited at 5C. Each German civilian rations, same period. Daily calories, 200 for 100. Sugar, 218 monthly when available. Meat, 10.5 Oz weekly, often unavailable. Milk, severely rationed ice cream, non-existent soft drinks, none available. These weren't propaganda numbers. They were documented reality. Enemy prisoners ate better than German civilians, proving American abundance extended even to defeated foes. Lasting impact. The POW experience with American food culture influenced post-war Germany profoundly. Coca-Cola returned to West Germany in 1949, becoming a symbol of American alliance. Ice cream parlors modeling American soda fountains appeared in German cities. Candy bars and chewing gum became symbols of recovery. Former POWs often became importers of American food products. The introduction of supermarkets to Germany in the 1950s was championed by former POWs' voices from history. In a 1975 interview, a former Africa Corps officer stated, "We expected to defeat a weak, divided America. Instead, we found a nation that could give ice cream to enemies. That's when we knew we had lost more than a war. We had lost our entire world view." Another veteran recalled in a 1985 documentary, "My first Coca-Cola was like drinking the future. It was sweet, fizzing, completely unnecessary, and available to anyone for a nickel. That drink contained everything Nazi Germany wasn't: abundant, democratic, joyful." These testimonies, collected across decades, confirm that American food abundance achieved what military defeat alone couldn't: complete ideological transformation. Why it worked. Historians recognize the German POW experience in America as remarkably successful re-education through abundance rather than propaganda. The program succeeded because it relied on observation, not instruction. POWs saw American society functioning at peak productivity while treating enemies with dignity. The food aspect was crucial because it was universal. Everyone understands hunger and satisfaction. Undeniable. Weight gain and health improvement were visible. Continuous. 3 meals daily plus store purchases. Comparative. Prisoners knew German deprivation intimately. Every meal became a lesson in American industrial capacity. Every Coca-Cola demonstrated standardization and distribution. Every ice cream sundae showed that abundance could be democratic. The next generation children of POWs grew up hearing about American abundance in prison camps. These stories, initially seeming fantastic, were validated as West Germany recovered and American products became available. Many POW children later studied or worked in America, drawn by their fathers' stories of impossible abundance. They found the reality matched the tales: supermarkets stocked with variety, soda fountains serving sundaes, candy aisles offering dozens of choices. This multi-generational impact extended beyond individuals. West German business culture absorbed lessons about consumer abundance, quality standardization, and democratic markets. Today's reality. Today, McDonald's operates over 400 restaurants in Germany. Coca-Cola is everywhere. Ice cream is ordinary. The transformation from scarcity to abundance, initiated in American prison camps, is complete. Yet the historical lesson remains powerful. Ideological transformation through abundance rather than deprivation, kindness rather than cruelty, demonstration rather than propaganda, democracy's ultimate weapon. The German POWs who couldn't believe ice cream and Coca-Cola in American prison camps witnessed democracy's ultimate weapon, the ability to create such abundance that it could be casually shared with enemies. This story represents history's most unusual victory, a war won through generosity, an ideology defeated by ice cream, a worldview shattered by soft drinks. These men experienced transformation not through punishment but through plenty. They arrived believing in German superiority and American weakness. They left understanding that American strength came from productive capacity so vast it could waste resources without concern. The society that could give Coca-Cola to prisoners for 5 cents possessed power beyond military might. The moment of revelation. Former POWs often recalled specific moments of transformation. The first Coca-Cola's fizz, the first spoonful of ice cream, the first bite of a Hershey bar. These sensory memories carried more power than any argument. They had tasted democracy, and it was sweet. The final truth. In the end, the bottles of Coca-Cola and dishes of ice cream served in American prison camps achieved what armies could only attempt: the complete transformation of enemy hearts and minds. The German POWs who couldn't believe such abundance existed became its greatest witnesses, carrying home the truth that democracy tasted like chocolate and freedom fizzed like carbonation. Their story reminds us that sometimes the greatest victories are won not through destruction, but through demonstration, not through taking, but through giving, not through hatred, but through the simple act of serving ice cream to enemies on a hot summer day. The men who experienced American abundance as prisoners became freedom's most unlikely ambassadors, transformed forever by the impossible reality of Coca-Cola and ice cream in American prison camps.